The year is 1939. Across Europe, shadows lengthen as a dark cloud descends, the shadow of war. In Germany, a nation hungry for power, whispers of a weapon circulate. This is not just another rifle or tank. This weapon could crack the earth and boil the seas. Adolf Hitler, the tyrannical dictator, has set his sights on the atom itself. The race for the atomic bomb has begun. The Nazis, driven by their ideology of dominance, see it as the ultimate prize. With it they could hold the world hostage, they could reshape the map and rewrite history in their image. But the path to nuclear mastery is paved with challenges, both scientific and moral. The world watches, holding its breath. Will Hitler succeed? Will he unleash this terrifying power upon the world? The fate of millions hangs in the balance. At the heart of Germany's nuclear program were some of the most brilliant minds in physics. These weren't just scientists, they were pioneers venturing into the unknown territory of the atom. Their leader was Werner Heisenberg, a Nobel laureate whose work on quantum mechanics laid the foundation for their quest. Alongside Heisenberg stood other giants, Otto Hahn, a master of radioactivity, and Carl Friedrich von Weizsäcker, a prodigy exploring the heart of stars. These men were not driven by political ideology. At least not initially. They were driven by a pure thirst for knowledge, a desire to unlock the secrets of the universe. However, their pursuit of science was soon intertwined with the ambitions of the Nazi regime. They became, perhaps unwittingly, participants in a race that could decide the fate of nations. The early years of the Nazi nuclear program were marked by a flurry of activity. German scientists were at the forefront of nuclear research. In 1938, Hahn and his colleague Lise Meitner made a groundbreaking discovery: nuclear fission. They realized that splitting an atom could release unimaginable energy. The implications were staggering. A single bomb harnessing the power of the atom could obliterate entire cities. It was a sobering realization, both terrifying and exhilarating. The Nazis, however, saw it as an opportunity, a chance to cement their dominance over the world. The race to turn theory into reality was on. Laboratories hummed with activity as German scientists worked tirelessly, driven by a mixture of scientific curiosity and the looming shadow of war. Despite early progress, the Nazi nuclear program was plagued by problems. One significant hurdle was the lack of resources. The war effort demanded vast amounts of raw materials, and the nuclear project often found itself sidelined. Uranium, a key ingredient for fission, was in short supply. Furthermore, the program suffered from mismanagement and internal rivalries. The Nazi leadership, though intrigued by the possibility of an atomic bomb, didn't fully grasp its complexity. They often diverted resources to other projects they deemed more immediately useful. The scientists themselves were not always united. Some, like Heisenberg, seemed to drag their feet, perhaps realizing the horrific implications of their work. Others were hampered by their own miscalculations. The path to the bomb was proving to be far more difficult than anyone had anticipated. Section 5. Espionage and sabotage. The Allies strike back. The Allies, aware of the potential threat of a Nazi nuclear weapon, were not standing idly by. They launched a desperate campaign to thwart Germany's progress, employing every tool at their disposal, from espionage to sabotage. Spies infiltrated German research facilities, gathering vital intelligence and relaying it back to Allied command. Acts of sabotage, daring and dangerous, became commonplace. Factories producing key components were mysteriously sabotaged. Heavy water, crucial for one type of reactor design, vanished during transport. The Allies, even as they battled German forces on the front lines, were waging a secret war behind enemy lines. These efforts, though often dangerous and shrouded in secrecy, had a significant impact. They delayed the German program, buying precious time for the Allies and ultimately contributing to its failure. Section 6. The heavy hand of war. How conflict hampered progress. The very war that fueled Germany's nuclear ambitions also hindered their progress. As the conflict raged on, resources became scarcer, and the best scientific minds were often conscripted into more immediate war work. Allied bombing raids, relentless and destructive, targeted German industrial centers and research facilities. The constant threat of air attack forced the Nazis to relocate their nuclear research, dispersing it across various locations. This made communication and coordination difficult, further slowing down the program. The war, which the Nazis had hoped to win with their superweapon, was ironically undermining their efforts to create it. The scientists themselves were not immune to the realities of war. Many struggled to reconcile their scientific pursuits with the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime. Some became disillusioned, their morale sapped by the constant pressure and the growing realization that they were working for a monstrous cause. Section 7. The Final Years, a Desperate Last Stand. By 1944, with the tide of war turning against them, the Nazi leadership grew increasingly desperate for a game-changer. The atomic bomb, once a distant dream, became their last hope. They poured resources into the program, but it was too little, too late. The scientists, scattered and demoralized, struggled to make significant progress. The constant threat of Allied bombing and the lack of essential materials made their task almost impossible. The dream of a Nazi superweapon was slipping away. In the final analysis, the Nazi nuclear program was a failure. It was a failure born of hubris, mismanagement, and the constant pressure of a war they were destined to lose. The world breathed a sigh of relief, but the spectre of nuclear war had been unleashed. Section 8. The Atomic Shadow, Germany's Failure and the War's End. The failure of the Nazi nuclear program had profound implications for the outcome of World War II. Had Hitler possessed atomic weapons, he might have unleashed them on London, Moscow or Washington, potentially altering the course of the war and shaping a very different post-war world. However, the Allied victory ensured that the horrors of atomic warfare would not be unleashed by the Nazi regime. The world had dodged a bullet, but the knowledge of how to build such weapons remained. The genie was out of the bottle. The world had entered a new and dangerous age, the atomic age. The shadow of nuclear war, once a terrifying hypothetical, now loomed large over humanity. Section 9. What if a world with a Nazi nuclear weapon? The failure of the Nazi nuclear program is a stark reminder of the horrors that were averted. But it also begs a chilling question: what if they had succeeded? What if Hitler had possessed the ultimate weapon? The world would have been a vastly different place. The balance of power would have shifted dramatically, potentially plunging the globe into a new era of darkness. The very foundations of human civilization might have been shaken to their core. The failure of the Nazi nuclear program is a testament to the bravery of those who fought against tyranny, both on the battlefields and in the shadows. It is a reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of vigilance in the face of those who seek to wield ultimate power.